I made a video not that long ago talking about my support for Joe Biden's bill, the so-called Inflation Reduction Act or something like that. Now, I don't agree with the name of the bill. I think it's ridiculous. But in principle, I strongly agree with what the bill sets out to do. And a lot of you contacted me saying, you know what, Viking, you're wrong. You're wrong. This bill is terrible. Well, here, my friends, is why I agree with the bill and how I think it's already made a huge impact to American investment in EVs and why it's going to change the future for the American electric vehicle industry. And I mean this very, very seriously. Things are changing in a massive way already, in a hugely positive way. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you stand, whether you're red or blue, that's irrelevant. What we need to focus on is electric vehicle production and adoption in the US. And so far, this is having a remarkably positive impact. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. My name's Sam Evans, and I'm coming to you from Melbourne, Australia. I'm back from the desert from Alice Springs. Great to be back here, although I do miss the warmth of the desert. Though the irony about the desert is warm during the day and really cold at night. It was quite interesting to experience that. I've never really experienced that before. Until you have, it's something kind of strange to get your head around when it's shifts of 25 degrees in the space of, a day, the space of only a few hours, in fact. It's quite incredible. Getting back to the Inflation Reduction Act. I just made a video within the last few hours talking about Toyota. Toyota have increased their investment after they claimed that no one in the US wants EVs and that Biden's goal of 50% electric vehicle adoption by 2030 was ridiculous because there was just no demand for EVs in the US. No one wants them. Well, within a few days of them saying that, they tripled their investment in an electric vehicle battery production facility from $1.3 billion to nearly $4 billion. That's the first thing that happened, but there's been a lot more. Just 2 weeks after Biden signed the Inflation Reduction Act into law, there's a number of other positive effects that have rippled through the US economy. The Electric says that global automakers are racing to source and assemble EV components in the US as new tax incentives from the climate bill expect to drive significant demand for EVs. I've seen so many articles, I've lost count in the last 2 weeks of new investments going into the United States along the various points of the electric vehicle supply chain in solar, in batteries, and in wind as well. The new tax credits stemming from the climate bill make it easier for consumers to access clean, sustainable energy options. And that, in my view, is a really, really good thing. One of the most significant inclusions in the tax credit for electric vehicle buyers is that buyers can get $7,500 US off a new EV and $4,000 from a used one. This means, right, that the US government, instead of, sponsoring Japan and Europe and other countries, is now finally supporting its own brands, General Motors and Tesla, who will once again be able to give you a level playing field. A level playing field is pretty important in my opinion. GM and Tesla, it's only fair that they should have a level playing field, seeing as they made more EVs than anyone else. In fact, if anything, they should be credited for that. In my view, you should probably get, right, this is an idea I come up with. Let me know what you think of it in the comment section below. Some of you are going to say I'm crazy, but here's my idea. The tax incentive you get should reflect the number of EVs you've sold. So in theory, that would mean the more EVs you sell in a given month, for example, the more you get, right? So basically, your customers are going to be like, come on, sell more EVs, so that you can increase the credit we get back. Something like that. Either way, it should be rewarding companies that make more, not penalizing them, which is what they've been doing. Now, the great point is, right, that the model must go through final assembly in North America for an automaker's EV to be eligible for credits. On top of this, the automaker must source EV battery components from North America or its free trade partners. What does this mean? It means that, not all Teslas, but the majority of them, a very large number, will qualify. It also means that, Ford and GM getting stuff made in Mexico, that has to end. That production needs to go to America for them to qualify. Not many people realize this, but the most American-made vehicles by far are actually Teslas. They usually score 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the most American-made vehicle lists. And GM and Ford don't even rank. Now, the purpose of this bill, right? The purpose of this Inflation Reduction Act is really just to bring manufacturing back to the US. And that's what I've been trying to tell people and stimulate the United States economy. So far, says the Electric, it's doing a pretty impressive job in only 2 weeks. And I have to agree. Major automakers like Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, Honda, and Hyundai and Toyota have all announced deals since the climate bill was signed to source EV components in North America. There's some are claiming that the climate bill has created a new gold rush on US soil. I've got to say, considering all the news reports I'm seeing lately, which are not just about automakers, but about a range of different companies, solar investment, wind investment, battery investment, it's amazing the result this has had. In mining investment as well. After finding shiny gold nuggets in Sacramento Valley in 1848, says the Electric, voyagers traveled from around the world to join what would become known as the California Gold Rush. As the news spread of fortunes being made on the California coast, travelers dropped everything to join the search. Now they say in a similar scenario, automakers are looking for gold on US soil. After President Biden signed the new climate bill, automakers are scrambling to establish their position. Here are a few of the biggest updates, aside from what I've just mentioned about Toyota, since the Inflation Reduction Act was passed. Hyundai is considering speeding up their electric vehicle production in the United States and may start construction on its dedicated EV plant in Georgia later this year rather than waiting. Number 2, Volkswagen and Mercedes-Benz signed agreements to source EV battery raw materials from Canada. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau were both in attendance at the historic signing. Number 3, Mercedes-Benz said it will be sourcing 10,000 tons of lithium from Rock Tech, a Canadian mining company. Honda is forming a joint venture with LG Energy. The joint venture is investing $4.4 billion into a new US battery plant that expects a 40 gigawatt hour annual capacity. Number 5, Toyota increased their investment from $1.3 billion to nearly $4 billion in a US battery manufacturing plant. But this is just the start. There are many other car companies, many other companies in other industries supporting the car industry, many other companies in the wind, solar, and mining industries who will be able to now get more invested in US jobs, US manufacturing, and in supporting a clean electric renewable revolution. President Biden has set a goal for the US to achieve a 50% EV share of total car sales by 2030. Now, I believe this is lacking in ambition. Others think the opposite. Getting there will take investments, though, from both the government and automakers. So far, the climate bill is doing exactly as designed, bringing the future of the auto market to the US as EV makers rush to grab their seats at the table in what will become a gold rush. After World War II, nearly 75% of all vehicles made worldwide were made in the United States. Well, obviously, that has completely changed over the last 50 years. For example, in China, Ford once sold 900,000 vehicles per year. They now only sell about 250,000. Chinese automakers are manufacturing EVs at an incredible speed that the United States really has no hope of catching up to. But at least with this act, it looks as though investment into electric vehicle production in the US is ramping up big time. And that, my friends, is awesome news. It excites me. I hope it excites you too. Let me know, though, if you agree or disagree in the comment section below. I know a lot of you are still not going to agree with this Inflation Reduction Act. I understand that, but let me know why. Why don't you agree, or why do you agree? Thank you for watching.